I think it might have been with you, wasn't it? Where we were in San Diego and we heard that they were kicking people out, and then we were doing a show and there was nobody there, and then like uh, they let people leave, and then remember the guy started swinging on the windows with like a baseball bat, and then somebody yelled, "This guy's got a gun." Remember that? Didn't you and I do that show?
I was there. Yeah, I was there. I wasn't,
Yes.
thankfully, and I took off because they were like, "That's enough of this." So
And then I remember like they cleared everybody out and they're like, "Hey, let's do a show for these people." It's like, I mean, listen, there's a million of them. I mean, there's a million. There's that one. So many, to me, the funniest thing is when you go on the road with a bunch of buddies, right?
right.
And everybody bombs but one of the buddies, and then you're driving. You're like, "Man, that audience stunk." And the one buddy who killed was like, "I thought they were pretty good." You're like, "No, they were bad. Like the only reason they laugh at you is your jokes are hacky." You know what I mean? It's just like it is always that ego thing of like, "Oh, no, they were bad." Listen, when I did warm up, I had so many issues where, wow, I mean, there were just so many times where I remember Jennifer Love Hewitt was on Carson Daly one time, and there was just dead silence in the audience. I was like, "Oh my gosh, I got to get something going, like some energy." And I started applauding just randomly. I don't know why. And Carson Daly looks up and he's like, "Why are people applauding her dog dying?" Like it just showed you how little I was listening. You know what I mean?
Right.
I remember at Craig Kilborn, I had people would jump up out of their chairs and run down the stairs like they were on The Price is Right. And a buddy of mine said, "Don't do that. Somebody's going to get hurt." And I was like, "What do you know? I mean, I know what I'm doing." And inevitably it happened. Guy twisted his leg. This is when I first started. And he's like, "Hey, I need to talk to the paramedic here." And I was like, "Paramedic?" And I was just like, "Here's a free CD. Go sit down in your chair." Like, I was just like I didn't know any better, and it's like, you also find this out too. You also find out, I remember a couple of times doing shows where during a dance contest, somebody would fall, like they would slip or whatever.
Right.
Nothing would happen. You okay? Everything's great. They'd get home and all of a sudden they'd call the show and be like, "We're injured." And you're like, "Wait a minute, injured? I saw you leave. I saw you walk out." And it's because the family then says, "Oh, you got hurt at CBS? They got money."
Yeah.
It happens all the time. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to report a fall at my house. You know what I mean? Because I have no money. But CBS is conglomerate. Of course they got cash. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's always funny to me. So I mean, there's a million of those. I mean, they just but it's why I love what we do, and it's why I love that we have such a great gig where I know so many people working right now that once this pandemic ends, they got to go back into the office and they're regretting it. You and I are like, let's get this over. I'm ready to get back to work. Like I'm ready to start doing what we love. I mean, this is, just killing me.
Yep. I don't know if you remember this. We did a show, and it wasn't necessarily anything you or I did. You were headlining, and I was hosting the show. And the guy before you, I won't say his name, but
okay.
I think you probably will know this already, went on stage, and there was a table of African Americans table, and it's important for the story. The only reason I say that they were kind of chatty throughout the show, and so there are ways to handle that. And the guy before you went up and was like, "I'm gonna take them out," and this was a white comic.
I remember this.
He just started going in hard on the race.
Yep.
And it got really tense, really, really fast. And the staff was like, "You need to do something," right?
I remember this.
They started standing up and they were shouting, and he was trying to be funny, and it didn't go well at all.
Badly.
And so I'm like, okay, I had to walk up and pull him off stage. They cut his mic, turned the music on, and I went up and I was like, "Hey, they told me to, we're going to pull you, man." And he's like, "I haven't finished my 12 minutes.
Right.
I was like, "Yeah, you're right. You're having," like,
but we know this too, because I remember how badly that went. And that just comes from inexperience. That's just, what I'm saying? Like that just comes from, that idea that maybe it worked once before, or maybe, because you've seen that over and over again. Maybe it's worked once before, but you're like, this isn't working now. It's just not, this isn't a good situation. You know what I mean? It's just not.